Hey guys, welcome back to another Snowrunner video. Today we're looking at Highway Haulin 2 again, which is pretty much what we're going to focus on for the next probably week or two till it's finished. I'm being optimistic, maybe 2 weeks, but it's hard to tell sometimes when you integrate two maps together. So we're just cruising through a new part of town that I wouldn't say I'm finished, but quite a bit of a ways through. I've got the whole general layout done, so now I'm working into the little bit of the small stuff that some people notice and some people don't, but it sets the world apart if you spend the time putting that little stuff in. So we're just coming down the hill here. We have a auto parts store and a coffee shop, and I believe that is an apartment back over in the corner. We are coming up on a little gas station, and we also have the bar there, which is important for many. There's a little bookstore beside there, and if you look up the road here, we have a nice little subdivision up in there for you guys to explore. A few houses to choose if you want to live in town. So now we're just gonna run up towards the highway and cross it, and we're going to head up the mountain. What we're doing today is we're going to take the old Ural up, and we're going to make the very first trip into the logging camp. It's a pretty muddy road on the way in there, so we're definitely not doing it with the Kenworth here. So we'll use it to get up the hill on the paved roads, and then we'll take the off-road truck for a drive after that. So here we're crossing the highway on one of 3 interchanges that are in the map, and they're all going to have their benefits depending on which one you want to drive to. We're just crossing by the plaza. It's kind of a shopping mall, maybe a little restaurant, quick stop kind of place for a few things you may need just off the highway. And then on the right hand side is the subdivision that I took you in on, I believe it was the very first video I put out. So there's quite a few houses up in there. And now we're going to start heading up the mountain. It just gets steeper and steeper for a bit, but the roads are pretty good. There's going to be spots you want to make sure you're driving sanely, because there's a lot of cliffs once you start moving up towards the top. Here's that tough corner from the last video that was a little bit more of a challenge when you come from that lower road. We're just passing the highway that I turned at on the first video that takes you along that cliff type highway. It's going to be just up here. Again, we can see the grass kind of switching over, so as we head up the mountain, we're just a little bit slower to get to spring up here, so I think that's going to have a little bit of a factor on the quality of roads we're going to have to go on the way into the logging camp. This is a pretty steep little hill, so you're going to want to make sure you have some motor behind your truck when you're coming up this one. It works the 990 pretty good, not going to lie. This is a little bit of an abrupt spot in the road that I'm going to have to smooth out. A little bit of a sharp corner or turn there, angle. Not going to get an 8 slot up there. Alright, here we are. We're just going to pull over to the side of the road and we'll unload the Ural, and we'll see how this thing does in the mud. Hopefully I haven't put the mud too thick. I'm going for challenging but not pull your hair out. Alright, that's a good spot. We're mostly off the road. Just shut this truck down, unpack, and we'll see what this thing's made of. I haven't been down any of these roads yet, so this will be my first look, other than in the editor, which looks quite a bit different than what you see in game. You never really know for sure until you actually get in there and play it. So there's a pretty sharp little bank right there. Wouldn't want to lose it. Let me know if you guys want to see guardrails on that stuff, or if you want to just leave it wide open and count on everyone's skill to not drive off there. So this is right now so far pretty good mud depth. I don't want it to be a slog, but the snow's just melting. It should be pretty muddy. It's not going to be an easy trip. And we got quite a trip ahead of us here, guys. Wait till you see the adventure to get down to the logs on this one. There's going to be definitely a few logging tasks. And there's only limited logs on the first map, so you're going to have to come down and get some eventually. I'm going to put sequoias in this one as well. There are a couple roads. There's 2 roads down into this area, so this is, it's a longer one, but it's not quite as steep. And the other one's some pretty heavy switchbacks, but you guys will see when we get down here. I'm pretty happy with this so far. The mud's about what I was hoping. It's not slowing the truck down too much, but when you get a load of logs and come back out of here, it's not going to be easy. The ground is a little stepped there. I'm not sure if I like it or not. I'll probably end up smoothing stuff like that out. Those are the kind of things I'm looking for when I first come down a road, is mud depth, trees, if they're too close to the road. You can see the ground there had some ledges in it that don't look terribly natural, so just little things that I kind of worked through on my way down the road. I'll make a note of all these things, and then I'll go back into the editor and I'll smooth things like that out and move trees around. And a lot of times you'll end up with trees right in the middle of an intersection or something, so you just got to keep an eye out for stuff like that. Pretty happy with this so far. Again, the mud's not terrible, but should provide a challenge. And now you guys are going to see some pretty scenic and tough road coming up here. This whole logging area is way down in a valley, and there's a lot of basically both roads out of there are right along cliffs. The one's pretty heavy switchbacks, and this one's kind of a ring around the outside of the valley, but you'll see as we start working our way down, it's muddy, it's slippery, and if you mess up, you're going a long way down. So it should be fun to see what kind of trouble we get ourselves in. Placed a nice little lake at the bottom. It's pretty scenic from what I've seen in the editor, so now that I'm actually driving down it, I'm very happy with how it looks. Well, that was a nice little dip. Just be careful and not over the cliff. So there's a good look down. It's quite a ways, and that's where we're headed, all the way down to the bottom. Just taking the long way, and we'll take our time. We don't need any shenanigans for this video. I'm sure you guys will have enough once you get a chance to get out on this. So I'm really trying to spend a lot more time giving you guys some off-road stuff in this. Well, that's a steep cliff there, eh? The first map was pretty light on the off-road, but realistically I wanted to use it as kind of the main hub, and the other maps are going to hook to all those gateways, so depending which side you go, you'll head to a different map. So I figured the center hub would be a good spot to be pretty calm, nice place to live, and then as you get out to the branching maps, you're going to get into terrain like this where we're up in mountains and we're in a lot heavier driving. You're going to want to use the highway truck like I did today to bring up a logging truck or a mud truck to get up here, surely because these tires are terrible on asphalt, and then vice versa, the asphalt tires are terrible here. So I'm just trying to not force you guys, but give you the option to use the variety of trucks on this map rather than just pick one truck and do everything with it. It's fun for role playing too. I know you guys have seen a lot of TC playing the first map, which is pretty awesome. That's what I made it for. Those guys are playing it exactly as I intended, and with this one I want to continue that, but with a little tougher missions and we're going to have stuff that's going to be cross maps, so you're going to have to drive all the way over to the first one to pick something up to bring it out here. You're going to have cargo split up onto different maps, and it's going to be logistically challenging, and you're going to have to figure out what the quickest way or the easiest way to get things are. So this should add a whole different degree of difficulty to the highway hauling maps. And the next one, I'm not quite sure what I'm gonna do yet. Ultimately we only have so many props in the editor, so it's gonna have to be something somewhat maybe drilling focused, or we'll see. Haven't totally decided, but I still got a lot of work to do on this one. So now we're finally down at the bottom of the mountain, or valley I guess, on this side. And we should be coming up on the actual logging camp here in a second. There's going to be a task or two for that doesn't involve logs. A few things we got to bring down to camp. All in all, it's been a pretty good run in here. I'm very happy with the levelness and amount of mud and stuff on the roads. I think it's about what I was shooting for with the challenge. So we pretty much just got to come up through the logging yard, and there'll be a little garage, and like I said, there'll be a couple other tasks that we're going to do there eventually that don't have to do with logging. And then we got to scoot all the way around that nice lake, and the logging pickup is on the other side, so it's going to be a pretty good haul. I'm also putting a bunch of little trails for trucks and stuff. There is going to be kind of a 4x4 type resort is what I'm putting in, that is more or less just an excuse to put a whole bunch of 4x4 trails. Have maybe a little camping and motel and stuff there. And there's going to be a lot more of this. Surely it's easy with the mud because it's kind of a spring-like setting, right? So it doesn't matter where you go, it's going to be pretty mucky when you're in this kind of area. So we'll just start our way around the outside of the lake to try to get over to where we actually pick up the logs. There's probably going to be 2 log pickup areas with a certain amount of logs on each one, kind of like the other map, but we'll see when I get there. There is the other road that heads up that bank you can see there, which is pretty big, but it's all switchback, so if you're feeling adventurous, you could take the shorter way. I don't know if it's quicker. Haven't been up there yet, but it's not going to be easy, but it's going to be a different option. This looks really nice. I'm very happy with this. I wish I could go to a place like this. That looks awesome. I love the way they've worked the light and shadows and stuff into this game. It's just light years ahead of Mud Runner and the way it looks, and it's just awesome. It sure is rewarding when you put the time in and then you come in game and you see this, and it's what you picture, and you can actually do what you want to do with this engine. It's pretty awesome. So we're just there. We are. There's our log pickup zone, which it's a pretty good trip to get up here, guys. You may want to have a highway truck to hook onto your long log trailer when you get up there in a crane, because it's going to be a multi-truck job, I think, most of the time. Don't forget to, guys, if you like what you see and you want to support my map building, you can join my Patreon, which is going to give you access to maps like this. Like, you could play this map right now as a member of my Patreon. You're going to see background shots and editor shots, and you can even help with missions and feedback when you're playing the maps to help make this the best that I can. I really appreciate everyone's support regardless. Thanks a lot, guys. We'll talk to you again soon.